2 weeks into the 2026 World Cup, and I need you to stop whatever you're doing right now. A 40-year-old goalkeeper who earns less in a week than most World Cup players spend on a single meal just stood between Spain and 3 points for 90 minutes straight, 27 shots, all of them denied. And when the final whistle blew, this man found out his mother could not even afford the visa to be there and watch it happen. The very next day, Lionel Messi walked out under the lights at 38 years old and scored a hat-trick to tie the greatest goal-scoring record in World Cup history. And the day after that, Cristiano Ronaldo played 90 full minutes against DR Congo and did not get a single shot on target. Not one. This is the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Week 2 just happened, and it delivered everything. Let's get into all of it. Let me paint you the picture properly. June 15th, Atlanta. Cape Verde, a nation of 529,000 people, making their very first appearance in World Cup history. Their opening opponent, Spain, European champions, pre-tournament favorites, a squad carrying Lamine, Pedri, and Nico Williams, the kind of talent that makes every other coach in this tournament genuinely nervous before kickoff. And standing between all of that firepower and the back of the net was a 40-year-old goalkeeper named Vozinha. He plays in Portugal's second division for Chaves. He only turned professional at age 25. He had 56,000 Instagram followers when he woke up that morning. What followed is one of the greatest individual goalkeeper performances in World Cup history. Spain fired 27 shots at him. 7 saves. Final score 0-0, Cape Verde's first ever World Cup point in their first ever World Cup match against Spain. When the final whistle blew, Vozinha dropped to his knees and sobbed. He told reporters, "I cried because I grew up with my grandparents, and unfortunately they were not here. They died a few years before. Also my mum, she didn't manage to be here because of the visa. The money for the visa we didn't manage on time." Read that again slowly. His mother missed the greatest moment of her son's entire life because she could not afford the visa fees. This is why football breaks people's hearts, and this is why it also puts them back together. Within 30 minutes of the final whistle, his follower count had crossed 1 million. By midnight, it was 5 million. The next morning, 14.2 million Instagram followers. More than Travis Kelce, more than Victor Wembanyama. Vozinha, a journeyman who once played in Moldova, Slovakia, and Angola, became one of the most followed footballers on the entire planet in a single night. This is what the FIFA World Cup was built for. Moments exactly like this. While Vozinha was breaking hearts, Lionel Messi was busy breaking records. June 16th, Kansas City, Argentina versus Algeria. Honestly, most people went into this game expecting a managed Messi, maybe 60 minutes, 1 goal or 1 assist, then off the pitch to protect that hamstring. He is 38 years old. At some point you have to be smart about these things. He scored 3 times in 76 minutes. The first goal came from a driving run and a shot from the edge of the box that Algeria's goalkeeper Luka Zidane, son of the man who won this very tournament back in 1998, never had a chance at. The second was a sharp tap-in from a rebound. The third, the goal that put Messi level with Miroslav Klose's all-time record of 16 World Cup goals, was a low bullet driven into the corner with the precision of a man who has scored thousands of goals in his career and never once questioned whether the next one was on its way. 3 minutes after that third goal, Argentina took him off. All 69,000 people in the home of the Kansas City Chiefs rose to their feet and chanted his name until their voices gave out. Then it came out that he had cried straight after that first goal. Not tears of joy. Something heavier. He said afterwards, "My tears after the first goal. I've had some tough days. It wasn't related to football." No explanation. No elaboration. None needed. Anyone who has watched this man for 20 years felt the weight of that in their chest. This was also, quietly, the 20th anniversary of Messi's World Cup debut at Germany 2006. He scored in that one too. Argentina look like a team that genuinely believes they can do this again. And if Messi breaks the all-time scoring record, which at this pace he absolutely will, it is going to happen in front of a crowd that will still be talking about that night in 50 years. Now the part where this all gets dark very quickly. One day after Messi's hat-trick, Portugal lined up against DR Congo in Houston. The entire footballing world was paying attention. Would Ronaldo rise to the moment? Would this tournament give us one of those nights where the eternal rivalry delivers at the exact same time? He played 90 minutes. 3 shots. 0 on target. Not one single ball troubled the DR Congo goalkeeper from start to finish. Ronaldo has now gone 10 consecutive major tournament games without scoring across World Cups and Euros. His last non-penalty goal in a major competition was June 19th, 2021. Portugal drew 1-1 with DR Congo and Ronaldo walked off the pitch alone, head down, while teammates embraced around him. But here is where this stops being a sad football story and becomes something genuinely shocking. After the match, 21-year-old PSG midfielder João Neves, the man who scored Portugal's only goal that night, was asked about Ronaldo. He said something completely reasonable. He said Ronaldo was no different from any other player in the squad, just another contributor working toward the same goal as everyone else. Ronaldo's fan base heard that and turned the internet into a war zone. They stormed the Instagram pages of Bruno Fernandes, João Neves, Vitinha, and Pedro Neto with a coordinated wave of abuse. They went after Bruno Fernandes' wife Ana Pinho directly on her personal account. Comments telling her that her husband hates Ronaldo and has never made a FIFA squad. People, and this is not an exaggeration, bullying a footballer's wife because a 41-year-old could not get a shot on target against DR Congo. The guy who scored Portugal's only goal is being attacked online. Not celebrated. Attacked by the fans of his own teammate. Thierry Henry and Zlatan Ibrahimovic watched the game and said what they saw on live Fox Sports television. Henry looked straight at the camera and said, "The team needs to score. Not you need to score." But if this continues the way it is heading, none of it is going to stay inside the dressing room. I need you to sit with this one for a second. Sweden beat Tunisia 5-1 on June 14th. One single game into the World Cup, before a single other team had even finished their second match. Tunisia's Football Federation looked at that scoreline, looked at manager Sabri Lamouchi, the man they had appointed only in January, and said, "Enough. Done. Sacked at a World Cup after one game. Not 2 games, not 3. 1. To be fair to the Federation, the problems had been mounting long before Sweden kicked off. Tunisia had lost 2 pre-tournament warm-up friendlies and won just 1 match in all of 2026 before the tournament started. Lamouchi himself seemed to already know the verdict before they delivered it. At the post-match press conference, he said, "We made far too many mistakes. With world-class players like the 2 Swedish forwards, that is unforgivable." He was writing his own exit letter at the microphone and did not even fully realize it yet. Hervé Renard stepped in to take over. Renard, who won the Africa Cup of Nations with Zambia and Ivory Coast, 2 separate countries, is one of the most accomplished coaches in African football history. He walked directly into a burning building and tried to find a hose. Then Japan beat Tunisia 4-0 in their next game anyway. This man was appointed in January. He led his country to a FIFA World Cup. He was shown the door before the tournament was 4 days old. There is no grace period at this level. No time to rebuild a squad's confidence or explain your philosophy. You lose 5-1 and you are gone by midnight. That is football at the very top. That has always been exactly what it is. Can we please take 60 seconds to acknowledge what Canada are doing at their home World Cup? June 18th, Vancouver, Canada against Qatar. Qatar, the team that actually held Switzerland to a draw in week 1. Not a soft touch, not a free 3 points. Canada put 6 past them. 6, without reply. At home, in front of a crowd that turned BC Place into the loudest stadium atmosphere of the entire tournament so far. Think about the full picture here for one moment. 4 years ago, Canada celebrated qualifying for a World Cup for the first time since 1986 as if it were the greatest achievement in the history of their football program. They went to Qatar 2022, finished bottom of their group, came home without a single point. Now they are co-hosting the 2026 tournament. Jonathan David is scoring goals, Alphonso Davies is lighting up the left wing, and they are taking teams apart on national television in front of their own country. The 2026 World Cup as a whole has been a goal feast from the opening weekend. The average sits at exactly 3.0 goals per game, matching the most prolific World Cup in history from Mexico 1970. Every single match seems to produce a moment worth talking about. Canada are right in the middle of that energy and they are not going anywhere. Win against Switzerland in their final group game, and this Canada team could top Group B outright. A country that spent 4 decades as a footnote in world football could be winning their group at a FIFA World Cup. Let that sentence land. If you were looking for the single most dramatic moment of Week 2, it happened in Toronto on June 20th, and it could not have been written any better. Germany had just destroyed Curaçao 7-1 in their tournament opener. Dominant, clinical, effortless, Ivory Coast came to Toronto and completely tore the script apart. By halftime, Ivory Coast were leading, and Germany looked rattled, unrecognizable, nothing like the team that had scored 7 days before. The crowd in Toronto was genuinely buzzing at the idea of an upset, then Denis Undav walked off the bench. You might not know that name yet. Unless you follow Stuttgart in the Bundesliga, you will absolutely know it now. He pulled Germany level in the second half to make it 1-1 and drag them back into the game. And then in the 94th minute, with both sets of fans exhausted and already resigned to a draw, Undav struck again. Low, driven, unstoppable. 2-1. Germany are through to the World Cup knockout rounds for the first time since they lifted the trophy in Brazil in 2014. 12 years of group stage exits, painful early eliminations, and national embarrassment that cut deep in a country that expects to always be in the latter rounds, ended by a substitute in injury time at a tournament held on the other side of the world. The German players celebrated like they had won the whole thing, and honestly, if you know what they have been through since 2014, you understand exactly why. It was not just 3 points, it was the end of something that had been weighing on them for over a decade. The moment does not ask for your reputation before it arrives. It just shows up. And Deniz Undav was the only one truly ready for it. And then there is Scotland, and I have to be up front with you. I cannot be neutral about this one. I am not built that way. Scotland won their first World Cup match in 36 years in week 1. Beat Haiti 1-0 through a John McGinn scuffed rebound in the 28th minute. Grown adults were crying in pubs across Edinburgh and Glasgow. Fans who had spent their entire lives watching Scotland fail to even qualify were finally watching their team win at a FIFA World Cup. That moment was enormous. Then Morocco arrived in week 2 and reminded the entire tournament exactly why they are one of the most dangerous teams in this draw. Ismail Saibari scored in the second minute. The second minute, before the stadium could even settle into the game properly. Scotland spent 88 minutes chasing the result after that. McTominay went down in the penalty area in the 82nd minute, screaming for a foul. Then McGinn went down in the same area. Neither were given. Scotland's players were furious. The Tartan army in the stands were furious. Morocco held firm and won 1-0. Scotland then faced Brazil in Miami knowing they needed a result to keep qualification in their own hands. They fought until the very end, but Brazil proved too strong and handed Scotland a 3-0 defeat. So here is exactly where Scotland are right now. 3 points. Their group stage is over. For Scotland to qualify for the knockout rounds, they now need most of the remaining third-place teams across the other groups to finish with fewer than 3 points. Their fate is no longer in their own hands. All they can do now is wait and hope the rest of the tournament falls exactly the way they need it to. The Tartan army made the journey to Miami. Thousands of them. Face paint on, kilts out, hearts completely wide open. These are fans who have followed Scotland through decades of near misses, heartbreak, and qualifying disasters and still turned up every single time. Now they wait, hoping results elsewhere can deliver the most unlikely route into the knockout rounds. That is the World Cup. That feeling right there is exactly what makes it the greatest sporting event on Earth. 7 stories. 1 week, and the 2026 FIFA World Cup has already delivered more pure drama than most tournaments produce across 4 full weeks. A 40-year-old goalkeeper from Cape Verde became globally famous in a single night, while his mother watched goal updates on a phone screen from home because visa fees were out of reach. Messi tied the all-time World Cup scoring record with a hat-trick at 38 years old and then cried about something that had nothing to do with football. Ronaldo went 90 minutes without a single shot on target while his fan base declared war on his own teammates and their families online. A manager got fired after 1 game at a World Cup. Canada put 6 past Qatar at home. A substitute named Deniz Undav ended 12 years of German hurt in the 94th minute in Toronto. Now I want to hear from you in the comments. Forget tactics, forget the group table, forget the stats for just a moment. Who is your player of the 2026 World Cup so far? I already know where I am landing on this one, and I think after this video you might know exactly where you are landing too.